Hey, Blue Rockers, how are you doing? Welcome to Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. I'm Connie Willis, and tonight we've got a great guest with us once again with Blue Rock Talk. Of course, you know who that is. That's going to be Stan Larimer. But before we bring him on, I got a couple of announcements for you. So make sure you're hearing us.
How are you doing?
Okay, we're all good. How you like that green in the background? Yeah, pretty nice. I asked our guest that we have tonight how it looks, and I didn't realize he was colorblind. So not a good person to ask. Anyway, hey, we've got a big night tonight and a lot of things happening here in the future. I haven't been around for a while, and I want to thank everybody who's been taking care of me and treating me like family. I appreciate that very much. Also want to say thanks to all the people helping me travel around, and we are maybe coming from you from somewhere undisclosed in the Pacific Northwest. There are a lot of people texting. There's a lot of people in social media going crazy now. What's up with that, everybody? This fulfills my entire day. I so try to keep up with it. Forgive me when I lose the passwords and I can't get a hold of you back. I want to thank everybody who joined me on Coast to Coast on Saturday night. That was a great time, and I know you guys are still asking questions about it. I get it, but we definitely will have more to come when it comes to the Meteorite Man to talk to you about, as well as Steve Bachman on Blue Rock Talk. So hang in there for both of those folks. Happy belated birthday to George Norrie, who had a birthday yesterday. And I also want to remind those of you out there, if you don't know who I am, I host Blue Rock Talk here, Earth's most interesting conversations. That's people, places, and things. And we do all sorts of fun stuff. We have cryptoconnie Tuesday coming up in the future, Wasted Wednesdays. That will be on the cannabis industry. We have Far Out or Signature Thursday, which is anything from UFOs to bees making honey. We'll puke and throw up from bees in it, something like that. I guess we'll learn more about that at one point. Bigfoot Friday, and then we also have Stan's Bible Study Sunday. That's always a winner, too. Sometimes it's even from places like a cruise ship, so we'll find out if we get something like that, as inspiring as that and some of the other places he's been along the way. So I'm also had a background of radio and television for many, many, many years. And I love doing live work, so thank those of you that are here for a live show. And one of the other big deals, I think, is being on Coast to Coast. Been on there for over 3 years, about once or twice a month. And so I want to remind people that right now you can help induct George Norrie into the National Radio Hall of Fame. I know some people that have been inducted once before. It's a great honor. Simply to be nominated, I know that's one of those things that you hear all the time, but it is a great pleasure to not just be nominated, because there's about 800 people that they sift through, and it boils down to 24, I believe, and that's a big deal. And he's in the category of the spoken word on-air personality. So if you're interested in voting for him, quite an accomplishment to have not just a radio show on for over a decade and more, but to have it syndicated, nationally, internationally, all over the globe, to have it on 7 nights a week, to be able to do all the different things that he's done and create new things like Paranormal Date and Conspiracy Date and all the other things that have come from that membership, Coast Insider, Beyond Belief, his own show. So that's a big deal. So again, what I like to say is he's a brilliant marketer as well as a polished broadcaster. And so I hope that you get to vote for him, and we'll take that chance to do it too if you're a big fan of Coast to Coast. You can do that by text, by dialing 96,000 and then text message 700, or you can also go to the website at radiovote.com and you can make it official. You can only do it until the 18th. It's 1 vote per email address and cell phone, and if you have more than 1 email address, vote once for each address, and if you have more than 1 cell phone, you can text vote once for each phone. So I think that's neat. Congratulations to him. That's quite an honor and something that will always live on, and definitely I think he deserves that for sure. And golly, That would be cool to be a part of one day. Anyway, let's go on, move on from there. Again, anything else new? All right, while you're here, please hit that like button. Please make sure you subscribe. We're over 12,000. Thank you guys very much. Please share this show with other people. And also, if you want to donate, don't do the fan funding. Don't do all the YouTube stuff. Don't even do the Patreon. I have all of that. Just do it in crypto. Then I get it all. So if you give $2, at least I get it all, and then maybe it'll go to $4, right? And do it in BitShares. Do it in Quint. That's fine with me. Do it in Free Hero. And speaking of that, we'll bring on our guest here. But please, I prefer you do something like that. Please also follow me on Steemit, DTube, DLive, and soon you can go ahead and start following me on iHeartRadio and Spreaker. Soon we'll be having Blue Rock Talk there, just putting everything together, trying to get the equipment going. So without further ado, let's bring on the man. Gosh, it seems like I haven't done this in so long. I forgot how to do it. Hold on there. Wait a minute. I have forgot how to do it. Wait, wait a minute. Stan, here we go. Stan, nope. Stan. Wait a minute. Stan. Stan. Stan, I got you.
Ah!
How are you?
Hey there, cryptoconnie. And this episode is not brought to you by Stroopwafel, which happens to be something that if it was going to be endorsing something, it would be this. I picked this up on a United flight back from China, and those things are awesome desserts. I usually ask for a second one so I can, flight after flight, accumulate a supply for my survivalist habits. They remind me an awful lot. They remind me an awful lot of what the elves gave the hobbits in War of the Rings to go into the land of Mordor, where they need to carry a lot of nourishment with them. And these things are super cool because they're nice and thin, delicious, full of energy. And I just thought I'd throw that in there because you just never know what we're going to talk about on this show.
Product placement. Product placement. Now, I've never had one of those.
Waffle.
Yeah, exactly. I've never had one. I'd like one, and I would love it if they wanted to join in and be a part of Blue Rock Talk and CryptoConnie Tuesday. Wouldn't that be awesome for us? They can fly us all around, Stan, everywhere, and, you know, we'll make sure you have that little bitty crumb of a, what is it called? What is it?
Stroopwafel.
Stroopwafel.
Yeah, the only place I know you can get them is Fly United in the morning.
In the morning. Oh, that's right. Right. That would just be a morning snack, wouldn't it?
They'll give you pretzels in the afternoon. You got to pick your flights right.
Now, is that a first class deal, or is that back in the where the animals are, or where?
I've got it back in steerage also. So.
Back in what? Steerage?
Steerage.
I love it. I love it. So, all right, Stan. So, a lot going on. All right, so let me ask a couple questions. Here's what we're going to do, everybody. So Stan and I usually do a couple hours and ask questions. So Stan has been like, look, no, and he started growling. He actually growled. I don't know if the full moon is out or what, but he's like growling and showing teeth. And he said, "Look, I need my beauty sleep." So we're gonna go a little shorter tonight. So please get your questions in ahead of time. Put it in all caps or any comments that you want for him. But we'll I might ask him a couple real quick questions, Stan, and then Stan's got something really special. I'll let him tell you what that's going to be. But just real quick before you do that. Can you give us a quick update on, I guess, where we left off before, and is like the BitShare 3.0. I know that EOS launched, and I know Quintric is coming up to launch. So if you could just catch us up real quick on all that kind of stuff too before you do the drum roll. For your
that was very, very effective.
That wasn't too bad, was it?
Yeah.
I got lucky.
Sure. There's so much going on that, it's hard to cover it every time. But we throw in tidbits from different places. The whole idea is the celebration of the emergence of graphene-based blockchains as the leaders in the industry by a lot. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I talk about what I told a Chinese audience last week. But when we do that, there are lots of ways to take advantage of what's happening with the various products that use the blockchains that Dan Larimer has developed, BitShares and Steemit and now EOS. And so one of the things we've been encouraging is a number of different development teams to start looking at what can you do to take advantage of Steemit. And I just did a recent, or not Steemit, of EOS. I just did a blog post here in the past week where I talked about all the ways that EOS's emergence is a bonanza for BitShares. And, part of taking advantage of that bonanza is to do some things on our side that, give back to the EOS community and make it all part of one big, glorious ecosystem. And so we do have some very advanced R&D going on at one team. And when I say we, I mean the community. My role is not to be doing these things. It's to be encouraging other independent parties. But the bench team is working on some revolutionary new changes that I expect to benefit the BitShares system without changing the BitShares system. And we have another project that's looking at some other ways to do that, integrating with EOS. All of those are what we were just saying is R&D. As I've said many times in jest, EOS is kind of like our whole community's R&D facility, R&D labs. They have, I think, something like a $4 billion budget to do R&D with. So, it would be crazy not to take advantage of all that work that they're doing in publishing open source. So our amount of R&D is to simply learn what EOS is providing and figuring out how to take advantage of it and how to offer BitShares products and services into the EOS environment. So all of that is going on, but like R&D, it's ready when it's ready. We're not pressuring any of the teams that are working on different things to get something done in a hurry. And that's the other thing I said in my article. BitShares is strong and capable of doing everything that someone wants to throw at it. And just knowing that we are coordinating and using the new technology should be enough to allay people's fears that BitShares is somehow going to become obsoleted. No, whatever features that EOS brings to the table will be available to BitShares whenever its people decide they need them. And even if BitShares itself doesn't incorporate it, there are plenty of ways to tie things together externally without disturbing the individual blockchains themselves. So that's sort of where we're at right now. We watch grass grow, we watch water boil, and that's watching R&D is slower than all that. So, but really good progress being made, and we're excited about it. But we'll let those teams announce their results when they're good and ready.
Did you like Quintric? They're going to launch on the 4th of July? Is that what's happening? Are they going to have fireworks? What's the launch mean when that happens?
Well,
because we have a slow launch now, right? Or a pre-launch going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's available and people are able to own various Quintric products. But of course, there were still many user-friendly features that we wanted to add to the website and other products and so on. So everybody has been building in parallel with the initial release, with the goal of having a complete system with all the bells and whistles ready for the 4th of July. And then that's when we would ramp up our marketing effort. It's not like the 4th of July is something spectacular. It's like that's when we start trying to drive traffic higher. And we wanted a few months before the traffic got really intense to get all the bugs worked out so people would have good experience. But on the 4th of July, there'll be press releases and other things to call attention to the product. But that's not a single-time event. It will continue on. Lots of interesting things that are in the works that will keep us in the news clear throughout the coming year.
That's for sure. I mean, you've been staying busy. So just real quick for some of the people that don't know what Quintric is, that is the precious metal backed. It's not just backed coin. It's not just gold.
No, it's gold and silver, and there'll be platinum. And some of its unique characteristics are that it's using the coinage of national governments, so official coins of the U.S. Mint and other countries. And it's packaged as legal tender, and it's structured in such a way that it stays completely within the jurisdiction of the state of Utah. So, that gives a lot of nice benefits in terms of something that can be used as a currency without the usual problem that we have, with having taxable events happen every time you trade a coin. This will be treated as legal tender and very stable.
And this is where you can actually liquidate and have it in your hand.
Yeah, that's the real proof of the pudding. If you can say that a coin is backed by a pallet of gold on the dark side of the moon, but if you really can't take delivery of it, how good a backing is it? And so if the gold is underground under Arlington National Cemetery, you can't get to it, so you can't really say that you're backing it by that gold. This gold you can get to, you can see it, and you can take delivery of it.
Gold is so cool when you actually see real gold. It's just such a unique look. I love silver as well. Absolutely love silver, but platinum, man, I just think that's awesome too. I think that's just really cool. So, before we move on, I want to say hi to Z Cowboy, Vince, and Frank. They're with Rogue Money Channel on YouTube. So they've got a school out there where they teach crypto, and it looks like they're setting me up. Looks like I'm going to start taking that and learning how to do some neat little things, and I'm going to impress you a little bit there, Stan, hopefully, and bring in some dough, some crypto dough. Oh my gosh, somebody get that .com. That's a good one. Somebody's going to beat me to that one. That's a good one. But I want to say hi to those guys if they did show up. So just really quickly too, next week you're going to be, having a good time somewhere. We're going to have Sean Worthington on with CloudCoin. So how's that going with you guys? You pulling it together?
Yeah, we've got quite a few interesting things in the works. And, that's one of the things we like to do is find good, trustworthy partners that have something that when combined, the two threads of technology are greater than the sum of the parts. And so I think that this is a literal gold mine of technology that we can mix together in a nice brew and come up with something pretty tasty to share in the future.
Well, I tell you what, you described a Krispy Kreme donut as well when you were talking about that. But honestly, I am really looking forward to that one because, the CloudCoin, he's got the CloudCoin up as a JPEG and off the blockchain, and he's putting it on there, and he's got all sorts of other neat things that's going to be happening. So I'm really looking forward to the genius minds that you guys are putting that together. It's just going to be fun to watch. So I'm excited about that and all the other stuff coming along. But now tell us what you have for us tonight, because you've done some really interesting things here recently, and you've been treated like a king.
Yes, that's certainly true, and I'm not used to that. I'm just a little country bumpkin here who every once in a while gets dressed up, but not very darn often if I can help it.
Normally it's his overalls, that's right.
I did not take my overalls to China.
Oh, that would have been a sight.
I did think about it. But I was invited by some folks over there that are very active in setting up conferences, and they basically encouraged me to come to a very big event called the Big Data Conference. And this is one of the biggest conferences they do over there, and they've started to include blockchain as one of the forms of big data that's really getting significant. And so we had an entire thread through that conference dedicated to blockchain type topics, and I got a chance to do 2 keynote addresses while I was over there. And so that's all I had to do was, fly, when you count various airplane delays, 40 hours over and 40 hours back. But in the process, it was worth it, because they really rolled out the red carpet for me and made it look like I was a VIP. And so I don't know how to act when I'm being treated like a VIP, but I just followed around. I had, concierge level support with, people escorting me everywhere I go. I had my own interpreter that was available anytime it was needed, and then just got invited to meet a lot of interesting people.
That's really cool. How was, I graduated CIA, Culinary Institute of America in Napa Valley and Greystone. And so whenever I know people travel abroad, I'm interested in the food. What did you think of the food along the way?
Oh, I got exposed to the real thing in many different venues and so on. I'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. But they had arranged for hotel accommodations that had a kitchen that served meals all day long that were a smorgasbord of every type of Chinese food imaginable. So you could wander around and sample different things, and then I got a chance to eat it in really unique locations, everywhere from the deep countryside authentic food of a little shop far, far away from the big city, and I got a chance to do it in various formal dinner settings where they make a big deal out of the entire process, not just the food.
Oh, I love that. I just love that kind of stuff. Oh, it's so good. And just one of the simple things that I love, one of my best friends, Chinese, and her family, she was very Americanized, yet her family didn't speak even much English, but lived in America for a long time in the Oakland area, Chinatown, Oakland area. And their home always would have food on a table at all times. And it was just wonderful food. I loved when she brought me any, or I got to do some. And one of them, just a very simple, Chinese dish is congee. And I just love congee so much. It's just their, like a rice soup with different broth in it, whatever. Beef or pork or chicken, or anyway, it just sits there all day long, and so good. So sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and hit your the presentation that you actually did in China. We're going to get a piece of that tonight.
Yeah, we had it was in the Chinese newspapers and on national TV over there, but somehow it hasn't been released. I know they filmed it. I'm not sure what their plans are for it, but I imagine it's one of those things that it's part of the overall profit-making part of making the conference pay. So I'm sure that a lot of those things are probably for members only or by subscription or something. But at any rate, what I thought I would do is just sort of go through the slides. I did 2 presentations. One was 15 minutes, one was 20 minutes. I'm only going to do the first one tonight, and if people like it, maybe I'll do the second one in a week or 2. But I thought I'd just go through the slides and tell people not only what I said, but why I said it. In other words, I'll sort of do a running commentary on my comments, and we'll see how that works out. But this will give you an idea of what that was involved. So if you want to throw up a first slide.
Okay, I'm glad you added that first slide. Otherwise, you're asking me to throw up. I don't want to do that. So, and next week, you know what we'll go ahead and do? I want you to enjoy your trip. Let's go ahead and have Sean Worthington on next Tuesday on CryptoConnie Tuesday, and let him talk about cloud coin and where he's at and what he's doing. You enjoy your trip. We're going to get you on the Bible study, possibly if everything works out. But please break in from time to time and let us know how you're doing. And then we'll, when you get back, I mean, totally enjoy yourself, when you're out. Come on, don't worry about us. We'll be okay. I'd like to stow away with you also, you and your wife. I want to be there. All right, so let me set you up here. Let's see here. Let me get you going here, and there we go. All right. Oh, look, I made it with you. My face is on there, too. Well, awesome. I can heckle you.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't good at all because it's not the way it was done over there.
Okay, let me try to get me off here. Let me try to get me off here. I don't know if I can.
No, that's fine.
Okay, good, because I don't know if I can get me off here.
But, yeah, as you can see, I had to wear a suit. There were two different times that I talked, and one was on a Saturday and one was on a Monday, the 26th and 28th of May. And so what I'm going to do is just pick the one and jump into it, and we'll just see where it all goes. Now, the purpose of this first briefing, I was told, was to give a 15-minute general interest discussion suitable for government officials. One of the neat things about this conference is it's heavily attended by the Chinese government, and so it's an opportunity to communicate key concepts about blockchains to people who they're not the highest officials in the government, but they are people who are responsible for the areas that are most concerned with blockchain type functionality. So nice opportunity there to put blockchain technology and what we're doing in a positive light for their benefit, as well as a lot of other technical people too. So this first 15-minute speech was aimed at that particular audience, and therefore didn't go very deep technically. Of course, in 15 minutes, how deep can you go? So at any rate, next slide.
Okay, well, just so you'll know, that first slide was you and two pictures, right? Am I lined up correctly?
Yeah. I'd rather have you look at me in a suit than me sitting here tonight. So I used up a little airtime with a picture of me in a suit.
Okay.
But the main purpose was just to point out that there were two, and I'm going to be talking about the first one tonight.
I got you.
Now, the second chart that we got here is just a map of China with a picture inserted in it of a waterfall that I went to visit. But right beside that picture, to the lower right of it, is a little town, actually a big city called Guiyang, and that is where we were. So normally when I get to China, I barely reach the border. I either visit Shanghai or Hong Kong, but this took me as deep into China as I ever imagined to do. You'll notice, just to orient yourself, that I was due north of Hanoi. So that sort of gives you an idea of where I was. It's a very nice, beautiful, booming city, and it's interested in attracting technology to it, and it got some good government sponsorship to help them attract this particular event and blockchain experts from around the world. So that's where this all took place, is in that general area of China. If we go to the next slide, the event was quite amazing. A very large auditorium, but it was set up like a studio, and you could say this was filmed before a live studio audience. Actually, the way that they had the producer of it stood up there in front of us and coached the whole audience for about 15 minutes before this started. You guys aren't clapping right. This is the way I want you to clap. You need to clap louder. When this happens, you need to do this, and so on like that. So she was getting the audience all pumped up and informed on what she expected. There were photographers and camera operators, and you can sort of see in the background there a big boom that went out over the audience, and and was floating around with a camera, taking pictures of what was happening on the stage and in the audience. It was a full-up type of show because it was being broadcast on national TV live. So that was the venue that I walked into, and I had heard that it was going to be live for national TV, but I didn't understand the scope until I saw the big CCTV network over there busy doing what they do, and it produced the desired effect because the next day it was all over the newspapers talking about my presentation and everything else that had happened then. So if we go to the next slide, the title slide for the presentation was BitShares, EOS, and the Silk Skyway. I figured that would be sufficiently interesting to span the things that I could cover in 15 minutes. Next slide, I put up bigger than life as a picture of myself and Dan, and that was sort of my little attempt at humor. I reminded everybody that I was not Dan Larimer, and the reason for that is because if I don't do that, people come up to me afterwards and say, "I thought you were a lot younger." So, I pointed out that there are two of us, and that he's the star of the technology, and all I do is go around explaining to people what it's good for. And so that was just a little chance to throw that in there, but it was interesting because that particular shot was what a lot of the papers featured as the snapshot of me on the stage with these two big pictures up behind me on the screen, which was pretty close to 3 stories tall. That's how big the screen I was working on in front of it seemed to be. At any rate, what I told the audience I wanted to talk about in 15 minutes was the concept of economic superconductivity, which is something that's enabled whenever you have unimpeded peer-to-peer access between everybody in the world. And so that was the fundamental theme of what I was going to talk about. And I pointed out that the big thing that prevents us from achieving economic superconductivity, once you've got the direct connections between everybody, is the middlemen that still remain in the system. Now, those middlemen can do valid functions. They can enforce the rules. They can simulate trust. A lot of times we trust a middleman, strange as that may seem, more than a stranger on the other side. At least the middleman has presumably a certain amount of reputation that they're trying to maintain. And in serving and maintaining their business, they need to be trustworthy. So a lot of times you can stick a middleman in there and they will give you some degree of false certainty that you can trust them until you can't. And they also make markets by finding buyers and sellers and introducing them to each other more efficiently. So they do some good things, but in the process they extract fees. They generally slow the pace, sometimes just to hold on to the money a little longer themselves and use it, or to make sure they're obeying all the regulations that have been placed on them. However you sum it up, it amounts to adding resistance. And if you remember anything about superconductivity, you cool certain kinds of metals down to near absolute zero, and at some point their resistance goes to zero, in which case they can carry a whole lot more current without generating heat and get a lot more efficient behavior. So I was trying to draw the analogy of what the real benefit for the world would be is if blockchain technology was allowed to prosper and a bunch of resistors were not stuck in everywhere unnecessarily, we could see much more efficient operations, and that would translate into global prosperity. So if we go to the next slide, I tried to make this as relevant and specific to the Chinese audience as possible. And of course, one of the famous things historically about China is the Silk Road that ran from Korea to Rome and ran through all the periods of time from 1,000 years or more BC to up to the time of Alexander the Great, the time of Marco Polo. That particular road was, improved, easier traveling conditions, and protected by the government so that people could have free passage for a price. But what that did was reduce the friction of economic interactions along that route and between the East and the West, and that led to not only exchanges of ideas and products, but an increased level of prosperity. And I pointed out that that kind of happens anywhere in the world where trade routes cross, right? Even at a little crossroads somewhere, a town will spring up, and as that town attracts more traffic, it grows to be a city, and that's how even whole countries who are strategically located along major trade routes get prosperous. And those countries who are not so fortunate, located at the ends of the earth, so to speak, don't have as good a connectivity, and you can see that as a major reason why prosperity is lagging. I think a good example is Africa. You don't go through Africa to get anywhere. You go to Africa if there's something that you want to do there. Africa is a huge continent with tremendous natural resources, and yet has been slow to develop. Why is that? Well, the friction of going to and from there it has not historically been eliminated, and therefore less economic activity happens there. And then I went on to the next slide and pointed out that that was what was the explicit objective of the leader of China's, President Xi, basically.
Nobody's hearing you right now. Hold on. I don't know why they're not hearing you. They see you, but they are not hearing you, they're saying. And I hear you fine. Let's see here. I don't know why. No audio, but they hear me typing, but they don't hear you. So you know what? I'll just hang up and bring you back on. Nobody's hearing you right now. Hold on. So let me. No, they're not hearing you. They see you. I hear you. Okay, let me. I'm gonna hang up on your booty, and then I'll bring you right back. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. So everybody, let's just hold on here. You never know what's going to happen. You know what? Let's see. I'm hoping you guys can still hear me, but okay. So. Thank you guys out there in the live chat room. So let me put that little 2-star or 1-star on Skype, right? When it asks you, did you lose the signal or anything? And bring him right back on. Let's see. Sometimes that's all it takes. It just never fails on these live shows. It's just the way it is. Hey there, Stanley. Are you there with us? There you go. I do. There you go. Now let's make sure we got you again. Let's see here. We can see your face. Let's see. Okay, they hear you. Let's see. Let me find that out first. Let me make sure I can hear you first. So my audio's on. There you go. Now let's make sure we got you again. Let's see here. We can see your face. Let's wait for you to talk. Let's see. Okay, they hear you. Okay. First, let me make sure I can hear you. Hang in there. So my audio's on. I'm not hearing you, Stan. Wait for you to talk. I've got John over here. Nope. Hang in there. Recording, let's see. Yeti, you, built-in, microphones, Skype, two folks. I'm not hearing you, Stan. Yeah, go for it. Do whatever it takes. Okay, now hang on there. Wait a minute here. All right, I'll just let everybody see both of us right now so that won't be too horrible. Go for it. Do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. See, now hear me totally, not you. Okay, now hold up. Let me see if I get that. Okay, now hang on there. We got to wait 30 seconds before. All right. I'll just let everybody see both of us right now. So hang in. Won't be too horrible. Looks like I got your sound here. I got your sound there. See, now hear me totally, not you. Okay, now. I'm not talking. Let me see if I get that. We gotta wait 30 seconds before. I'll just let everybody see both of us right now. Okay. It says poor network connection. I'm waiting for your 30 seconds before you talk. So I'm going to hang up on you. Maybe. Let me hang up on you again. I'm going to hang up on you again. Let's try that again, okay? Hang up. Okay, I'm going to hang up on Stan again. You know, it just happens when it's live. I have been using this third-party group here for this third-party app, and it's been working pretty well. I don't think I need this, so let's close that out. I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate that you guys are there to help out. Huh. It's been pretty good. We've got that. We've got, oops, let's see. You know, when you do these shows, there's so many little buttons to push, right? So if we got that, and if we did this one, his mic is on. And if we go this route, his mic is on. We got his mic on everything. I just don't know. So let's, we're going to bring him back on with Skype and see what happens. I appreciate that you guys are hanging out. If I had my other setup, which I'll be having pretty soon, that's where I would play my little technical difficulty little video. It's so cute. All right, Stan's calling me. Let's see. Let's go back. He's calling me this way. That's better. So let me see if I can pick him up. Oh, no, he's not. Okay, I'll call you. All right. Obamacare. No, there is an echo. They're right. There's a giant echo. Not sure why. Okay. So let's see. So, okay, we need your. Let's get your camera on. Show those little pearly whites of yours. Let's go. There we go. Okay. So we see Stan. See Stan talk. See Stan run. See Stan do Blue Rock talk. Well, let's see. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's bring us both on here. Bam. Oops. No! Just kidding. Oh, no! Go ahead. Go ahead, Sam. Yeah, go ahead. That'd be funny. That would be hilarious. That'll be great. Well, you're pretty good at it, so it's okay. So we got that. We got Skype guests. We've got you on. We've got, it says your mic is on. It says your microphone is on. It says, I've got you. It says, show picture in picture, show Stan, show the dude that's on the other side. That's you. Okay, so let's see if I can hear you over here. Anybody hearing him? You see him? No. Stan, I have no clue. It says, show picture in picture, show Stan, show the dude that's on the other side. No, I'm gonna cut mine off and turn it back on real quick, so everybody stay right where they are. It might cut it into two videos, but okay. So let's see if I can hear you. Okay, so let's see. You're gonna hear the echo there. So this is what I'll do. Stan, I'm going to hang up on you, and I'm going to call you right back. I'm going to refresh the third-party app that I'm on, and then we'll bring it back up. So it may or may not cut off the video, or it may resume. So I hope that you guys join us back. You're watching Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, along with Stan Larimer, the godfather of BitShares, on CryptoConnie Tuesday. It could be part 1 that you're watching right now, and we're about to flip over to part 2, or it could just be a continuation. So for now, we are going to wrap this